everybody, and welcome back to Weather Okie, and welcome back to your 22nd and 23rd of January outlook. Today, we are going to be talking about what has happened inside of the areas that were affected by snow recently, and what is going on right now, and what we can expect in the next few hours into tomorrow evening and afternoon hours, and kind of looking at what's left for January, saying that this could be one of the final storms for snow in the south and really the Midwest. So just starting off, we can see that there has been a lot of snow going forward in these areas that I'm marking. And just right now, we can see that the snow has not started in these areas now. But soon, I say soon, but soon in the next few hours slash tomorrow in the early hours, we can see that start to develop and move forward. What's left for these areas now is that New Orleans is getting the rest of their snow. Their snow will be ending very soon, and what will be their final snow probably of the year. These parts of Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Savannah, Tallahassee, you guys are still getting parts of snow. Your rain will shift into the snow focused. And as we continue into tonight, we can see that in the Gainesville area and around Daytona Beach, we will see a little bit of ice and sleet start to develop into what could be an ice storm into the late hours and early morning hours of tomorrow. So as we have that, let's move forward. So already starting, we can see the snow that is left inside the south and the rain and the sleet still going. And going forward, we can see that it will start shifting into more of an ice and sleet focus into the parts of the what's left in Florida and just some southeastern parts of Georgia, as a little bit of the south is still getting their rain, and that will be all they're getting left. Continuing on into the early morning hours of tomorrow around 6 a.m., there is the snow still going on in North Carolina, even some parts of Virginia, very slim, but still going. And just continuing, we can see that it does stick around until about 9 a.m. before finally shifting into more of a freezing rain focus now. When we get to about the 11 o'clock area, that's when the big parts are still getting their ice. Now these totals are around 0.10 inches up to 0.60 inches. And then finally around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we can see that most of the storms have now exited the United States. Now, as for temperatures, we can see that it will be around the 27 and 30s into about 6 o'clock tonight. And moving into the 22nd around 3 a.m., we can see that most of the United States in the areas that were snowed in will stay pretty fairly below the freezing point, and we'll keep that snow for a little bit into those days. Even some parts of Louisiana getting down to 2-1 degrees, very low temperatures still, and until finally the heating of the day, where they will get pretty close to the of where their snow will melt. But of course, the wind chill could help this a little bit more than we could think, and could keep the snow around a lot more. We can't expect the snow to stick around for a couple more days until maybe even the 22nd, almost a week away. But really, those cold temperatures sticking around are big explosive days into Texas still sticking around. So I think the best chance for people to keep their snow, these areas will be the first to keep their snow the longest, second area, the third area, and then just the fourth area. So that's where I think they will keep the snow the longest. Now, as for the panhandle of Florida and what is left, we're not really sure. Kind of depends on what happens tonight and how much snow they get and how cold the temperature could be. Just starting off, we can see quite low temperatures already, and then moving forward, we can see those temperatures dropping about 10-15 degrees below what their average is. And then continuing on, we do see that does stick around in Florida for quite a while, even in this big area of cold. Now, continuing on, we can see that this really just stays for a couple of days. Doesn't really want to go away before finally around the 24th, 25th area, it does decide to leave. Now, on the 26th, moving into the day of the 27th, we can see that these areas are getting their average temperatures and a little bit above in Texas. And Florida is getting about their average as well, kind of just averaging out in the United States right now. Before finally, we can see this is the big day, this is the big time for the temperatures to all switch around right before February. We can see the cold in the north and the cold in the west, And then there's this little sneaky bit of super warm air just sneaking up 18 degrees above. Now this is the big heat wave to move in February. It doesn't sound crazy, but right here on the 29th we can see that it's taking over the United States fairly quickly. Moving through the next few days, it's going to have a little subtle kind of placing itself in there, trying to make sure it can keep in there before finally the Northeast does get their final cold, because on the 1st it is immediately pushing out that cold air and bringing in this big pile of warm air, as the South does get their final shot as well of their cold air, because as we move forward, boom, big giant heat wave everywhere, low pressure system and high pressure system taking over this. And then finally just ending off about where we started February, this model on the 5th, everywhere still above average, and keeping that for right on the 18th, high temperatures in the Dakotas areas, into parts of Kansas and Nebraska. And that's really all we have for temperatures before finally we can move forward into our rest of today and the snow outlook of what we gotten so far. Now as for the snow depths, this does show the accumulation on the ground, not how much has fallen. Starting off, we can see that Texas is about an inch or lower, with a little bit getting that 2 to 3 inch area. As for Louisiana, you are getting about that 5 or 4 area. And just moving forward just a tiny bit, we do see that the accumulation does continue to rise in these areas over the next few hours, before finally moving into the 22nd and 23rd, very high areas of accumulation, some areas even getting 8 inches of snow of accumulation only. Into the 23rd, we can see that Texas does start to lose their snow, really a big drop on the 24th, losing about 1 to 2 inches, and really all of Texas might have all their snow gone by the 25th. But really what we're talking about is how much cold has been shot into Georgia, but they're still keeping theirs around the 25th, and that does stay until the 27th. Just a little bit of a coating on the grounds on the 28th before finally just diminishing and having nothing left. Now on a different note, we can see ice accumulation in Georgia about 0.59. That is a high amount. On average, we don't get 0.59, you only get about 0.20, and that's enough to be a major problem. So 0.59 inches is crazy. Even parts of Florida and the Panhandle, you can't see all of this. Now the only other place we can see more ice is on the 29th of January. We can see a little bit in the West North Carolina region and parts of Tennessee and some parts of Kentucky. Starting on the 26th, we can see a bit of the rain starting here in the South, and continuing on, we do see that will be a bit of a factor. We are going to see a repeating idea of storm forecast going on. We are going to see in the north, we're going to see a bunch of snow and a bit of ice, while in the south we are going to see that rain, and even parts of the Midwest, of course. Well, in parts of New Mexico and Arizona, you are going to get your little bit of snow, and also in these parts, you're going to get your snow. Now, as for this part, you are going to get the dry. It's going to be very dry for these next few days. The only other factor that we are going to get is that these storms here could be severe in moving forward. We may see that in the models. And continuing on, we might have to look forward into that. But I just want to talk about how much it is going to get really dry after we hit February. We are going to see it repeating over and over again. It can, of course, bringing that low pressure system going on inside the north, while the south is getting their bit of rain. And after we hit the 1st, we are going to see a bit of a storm in the south that could be severe. And after that, we are going to get a little bit of a dry spell going into February after the 3rd. So if you guys want to get more updates like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this with people you know. I have a Facebook now, so if you want to go down and follow and add me, you can see all the reports, and as soon as I make a video on there, and make sure that you guys are putting a comment down below. I do love reading your comments, so make sure to just do that and just help support me. So I'll see y'all in the next one.